Okay, time to get back to this Osage bow. There it is. It's starting to look like a bow. Still very thick yet, very heavy bow yet. What I want to do now is I want to start thinking about getting this bow to the point where I can bend it, so I can start to tiller it. And so my first step in that is I'll take a pencil here, a little ruler, and I'll make a mark on here, the thickness that I want, which is going to be a 1/2 inch. A 1/2 inch, I'm using a 1/2 inch because a 1/2 inch should get me the weight, should leave me with plenty of wood to get the bow weight that I want when I'm done. In fact, a 1/2 inch is going to be too much yet, I'm thinking. So what I'll do is I'll make my mark at a 1/2 inch. And I'll bring both limbs down to a 1/2 inch thick, which will allow me to get on the long string and start bending it, and then I can start the tillering process. But what I do when I make that mark here on the edge is I'll take my pencil, I'll put my thumb on the back of the bow, I'll put my pencil on this marker here, and I'll drag my finger, I'll lock it in place, so it locks the pencil at a 1/2 inch, the pencil tip. So I'll take and I'll bring that all along the bowl in here, and that's my 1/2 inch mark. So now what I'll do is I'll do it to all the other edges of the bowl end, mark it at a 1/2 inch, I'll take my rasp, bring it down to a 1/2 inch, then I can start thinking about the long string and getting this bending. That's my next step, is to finish marking these and then break out the rasp. Alright, now that I got these marks on here, I don't know if you can see it or not, black line here. Now that I got my marks here and on the other side, I can kind of go crazy with my rasp a little bit, not crazy, but I can use my rasp, and knowing that as long as I leave that pencil line there, I didn't go too far and I have enough wood left. So what I like to do when I'm rasping, and I still have a significant amount of wood to remove, is I like to take the first pass along this thing will be at an angle like this. The second pass will be at an angle like this, coming from the other side, pushing the file away so it doesn't rip out any wood, coming this way with the file, and that'll leave a hill in the middle, and then I'll take my file and flatten that off. It's easier to file a side first, and then a flat, than it is to try to rasp the whole flat at once. It's much easier if you take just a little cut, and then the final cut. It goes much easier, and you're not fighting so much trying to scrape the whole thing at one time. So that's what I'll be doing now. And I'll do that to this limb, and then I'll flip it around, I'll do it to the other one. Okay, I rasped the front off, down to my line. Went around the other side and I rasped that off to my line. Now it's time to start thinking about taking this limb flat. What I did is I took a pencil and I marked the edges here. A little lead on the edges, both sides. So when I'm taking and I'm rasping this flat, I know that I'm not going too deep. If these pencil marks are removed, I know that I went too far. So it's a little insurance policy to let me know not to to help me keep these limbs to the right thickness that I want and not go too deep. So now I'll take and I'll flatten this out, and I'll do the same process on the other limb. Alright, I brought both limbs down to that 1/2 inch mark I was talking about, and I tried to bend the bow a little bit. I took it off and I tried to bend it. Still doesn't bend. So now what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll make another line just shy of a 1/2 inch. I'll mark that and I'll bring it down to that line, and I'll try it again, and if that doesn't work, I'll do another line until I can get it to start bending at least a little bit, and then you can usually get on the long string after that and start tillering it out and bringing it down to the weight that you want. So that's my next step now. I'll make another mark, and I'll take it down again like I explained before, and we'll see if it'll bend when it gets to that thickness. Okay, got this bow reduced down to where it's bending a little bit. You can just see it flexing. Still much too heavy for me, but that's at this point where I can see it's going to bend. I know the thickness is within, like a 16th of where it's going to be eventually right now when I get it to bend. So now what I'm going to do is I'll go through and I'm going to reduce this handle really, really close to final dimension. This handle and the tips, same thing. And now that I can see that where my thickness and my width are, I can blend these tips in much better. Also, on the limbs here, you can see it on one side here, I got a thin spot right here. I have the caliper and I went and checked on the limb, and thin spot right in here. So what I'll do with the pencil is I'll take and I'll put a big X right here. See that? I won't touch that for a while, because that's my low spot, and I don't want to get any thinner than this until I can see where I'm going to be. So what I'll do is, when I'm starting my tillering process here, after I get my tips and handle done, I'll know that that's the thin spot, and I don't want to mess with it at that point until the rest of the bow gets down to that thickness. So yeah, my next step now is I'll reduce this handle and the tips to almost final dimensions. And then I'll come back to these limbs and start thinning these out and tillering the bow.